Pictures of Patrick.
Oh, God. Okay. Do I have to touch them?
No.
Yeah. I want to see. Oh. Can you guys see that? There it is. This person can see what he's thinking. You know he's a monster. You know he's evil. You can tell by his facial expression. I feel like until this man is dead, I'm not free of him. Ever. Even though I'm strong now, him looking at me makes me feel like that little girl. I just feel, I don't feel strong anymore. And I kind of want to stare at these pictures until I don't feel that way. I just want to look at him and tell him to go to hell. You're a piece of trash. Just because you're miserable didn't give you the right to ruin other people's lives. You know what? The longer I look at him, he's not scary. This picture, he looks like a little punk. And in this picture, he looks like a little punk trying to pretend he's not a little punk. So, to be honest, thank you for showing me these. This is gonna help me, I think. Yeah, I'm done. I'm not scared of him anymore. What can he do? What can he do? I feel empowered holding these pictures now. Can I rip these up? He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. And if I was allowed to set a fire right here, I would. Because I feel like ripping him up, I could still see him. Look. See, I'm trying to rip him up and he's still looking at me. Monster. Evil. Demon. Goodbye. If you never believed in evil before and you hear about this, you have to believe in it now. Early 20s, just got out of a bad relationship. A good friend of mine told me I had the perfect guy for me and that I just couldn't miss this opportunity to meet him. And the guy that she introduced me to was Patrick Fowler. She was like, he's just such a good guy. You're never gonna find another guy like this. And I'm like, well, how do you know him? Oh, he's my ex. And I'm like, well, if he's so great, why aren't you with him?
We were just growing in different ways.
We were young, and there's just too much history there. But he's a great dad, he's a great guy, and I really think you two would get along.
I promise you're gonna love him.
She wouldn't give up. And I just thought at the time that she was just being a friend, looking out for me. But I think in actuality, she knew for a fact he was abusive, knew for a fact he was crazy. She used me to get away from him. But I didn't really know that part at the time. So when I met him, he lived up to everything she said. He's like, so tell me about yourself. You know, I heard you have kids, and just asked all the right questions.
I know you gotta get back to your kid, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know y'all a lot better.
I asked the same questions, but it was almost like Patrick avoided answering questions specific to him.
I just feel like I talked about me all night. I want to know more about you.
I'm just boring.
He would always kind of, well, this is about you. You're important. You can learn about me later.
Well, maybe I can dig something out of you.
So that means I get to see you again?
I just feel like he didn't want me to know him. He wanted to know me because then it would be easier to manipulate and control like evil people do. But at the time, I did not view it that way. I felt loved and seen and beautiful and appreciated and the center of his attention. And that's what, in the moment, I thought was the perfect man. I don't like to visualize him. I almost started crying. I seen his face and it just like, scared the crap out of me. Oh. I don't talk about him a lot. So, us talking is just like bringing stuff back. Whew. Sorry. I didn't expect this. I think it triggers me because I just wish I would have said no. My childhood was really rough. I didn't have good family. I would have done anything to get out of there. It was just me as a single mom with my special needs son. When I met Patrick, he was like, well, why don't you just come move in with me? He lived with his mom, and when I spoke with her about it, I let her know that my plan was to save money as quick as possible and get out of there. Made very clear that I was just there to save up, get on my feet, get on out. But once I started living there, it was impossible to save money at all. We would just be normal, sitting there, having a good day, nice summer day, windows open. My son, his 2 daughters, and his stepdaughter.
I'm bored.
You bored, huh?
All of a sudden, he'll say, hey, you guys, I have a great idea. Why don't we go to Chuck E. Cheese?
Who wants to go?
Me! Hang on a minute.
We had $40 to our name. 4 kids and 2 adults. This was expensive.
I'm sorry, guys. Not today.
So I'd be like, no, we can't do that. And the kids, all of a sudden, who were just having a great day, now they're mad because they want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. And now it's all on me again. Patrick would get the kids to beg me. You never let us do anything. And I felt like he did it because he knew that if I told the kids no, I'd feel guilty. So we ended up going,
Please. Okay, go get ready.
but every time we did something, it was my money. I paid for it. Going out to eat, my money. Going to the museum, my money. Swimming, my money.
What the hell? You know I'm trying to save up for my own place.
Patrick convinced me to do so many things with the money that I would have never done that I could never get that dollar amount saved up to get out, ever.
Lighten up, okay? You need to have some fun.
At the time, I just thought it was playful. I just thought, oh, that's what dads do when you're in a relationship and you have kids. He wants to spend the money, but he wants to spend it on the kids. That's so sweet. That's such a great attribute to have. That's such a good dad. Now I know it was a part of his manipulation. Looking back, I definitely feel like this is Patrick's way of taking control of my finances because he knew I wanted out of that house. And he knew the only thing keeping me there was the finances. When I met his sister-in-law and his brother came to town, that was the very first time that I started noticing is just disdain for women. He had a brother that lived out of town, him, his wife, and they had 1 roommate. They were going to be coming to visit, so we're sitting there watching TV in the living room. His brother's wife starts complaining her back hurts, so she sits down on the floor next to the roommate. She was sitting Indian style on the floor. And the roommate...
You whore? What the hell you doing?
Patrick jumped up, and the first thing he said was, "Get the out of my mom's house, you whore."
You wanna touch you like that?
She's like, "What is your problem, Patrick?" And she's like, "You're not gonna talk to me like that. You will respect me. I am the wife of your brother."
Okay, you need to watch who you're talking to like that.
Then Patrick's like, "I knew you were no good. You tricked my brother into marrying you. You took my brother away from me, you raggedy bitch." And he looked like the devil. His eyes were just piercing. All I could see was his teeth and his nostrils snarling and spit flying out of his mouth. Patrick looks right at his brother and says, "Your wife's a whore, and I'm gonna whoop her ass."
Don't let this bitch whore disrespect you in my house like that? Settle down.
His brother gets in his face and tells him, "You ain't doing nothing to my wife."
You playing? You know she a whore.
That made me feel extremely uneasy. I was baffled and in shock because I had never seen him act like that before.
I'm so sorry.
At the time, I felt like Patrick was just acting like this out of jealousy like a little kid. Looking back, Patrick views women as property. When we and Patrick first got together, he was very touchy-feely and endearing, holding my hand. I just thought he was affectionate. But as time went on, I no longer seen it as affectionate. I seen it as an obsession. In bed at night, when we laid down to go to sleep, he'd wrap his arms around me and a leg. It went from an enduring cuddle to almost a suffocating hold. If I moved, he'd wake up and squeeze me so tight, and I'd say, "You're hurting me." And he'd wake up a little bit, loosen it up. "Where are you going?"
What's the problem?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Nah, you good.
He would literally tell me I was not allowed to get up and go pee. So I wiggled out of his arms and I went pee, and when I came back in there, he's sitting up. "Where have you been? You've been gone for hours." I'm like, "No, I've been gone for like 3 whole minutes. I peed, I washed my hands, and I came back."
I swear these bitches all the same.
And then all of a sudden, whore started coming out. "Whore, whore," and he would just repeat it. "You're all bitches and whores." I was in a complete state of shock. That was the first time I've ever heard him say anything like derogatory towards me.
Did you just call me a whore?
When I got upset with him and he seen I was upset, he would, "I need to make sure you're okay at all times." And he held me again. I could not sleep for that rest of that night. I feel like I was in a full-blown panic and anxiety attack for the next 2 days. He wasn't holding me to hold me anymore. Patrick was now holding me to confine me. Things just started getting eerie. That's the way that I describe it. I wasn't allowed to be alone at all. If I went to take out the trash, he was in the window staring at me eerily. I wasn't allowed to sit down at the table and eat a meal without holding his hand. I get up to go to the bathroom. It's, "Where are you going?" That's not normal. I felt Patrick was definitely unreasonably obsessed with me. And I didn't understand why. One time, I wanted to wind down like most women do in a hot bath. I'm laying in the bathtub, enjoying myself. I got my, candles lit, thinking I'm finally alone. And I look at the doorway and I see, like, feet, that shadow of the 2 feet. So I'm like, "Who is that?" No response. The kids are gone, it's late, everybody's sleeping, so that has to be Patrick.
Patrick, is that you?
And it gave me this eerie feeling.
Patrick, I can see you. Stop.
Still see the pacing under the crack of the door with the light shining under, and I'm like, "Who is that?" No response. I get up, I put on a towel, open the door. He's standing there. Jesus, what are you doing?
Did you finish it?
He's like, "Why are you taking so long?" I said, "I just got in here. Why are you standing here? You've been standing there for like 6 minutes, not answering me." He just kept staring at me, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll be out there in a few minutes. I'm gonna finish taking this bath." And I just shut the door in his face.
I'll be done in a little while.
I finished taking my bath. He just grabs me by the back of my head and starts kissing me, really rough. He rips my towel down. And he had sex with me. He raped me. And this is the first time I've ever said that out loud. Patrick raped me. From that moment on, I was afraid of that man. I felt that Patrick, he now seen me as his belonging. But I stayed because I felt trapped. I had nowhere to go. I have no family, no money, nowhere to go. What am I supposed to do? And I know that can be hard to understand for people that have never went through this before. And all I can say to you is, be great thing, and don't down me for it. I get a random phone call.
Hello?
And I don't recognize the number, but I answered it anyway. And there was a lady on the other end, and she asked for me by name, and that freaked me out.
Yes, is she?
I said, "Who is this?" She said, "This is Mr. Fowler's probation officer. Do you have a few moments to talk?"
Probation? Probation for what?
I was told by the probation officer that Patrick had failed to register on the sex offender registry, which I didn't even know he needed to do that, because he had sexually assaulted a minor or child under the age of 16. I went in complete shock, and the first thing I said is, "What are you talking about?" She said, "You have children?" I said, "Yes, I do." She told me right then and there that I had to come in and meet her, that Patrick wasn't allowed around children. And then she let me know he just got out of jail. He was incarcerated this last time for domestic violence on his ex. My whole world kind of just crumbled. This was my friend, and she told me he was never abusive. And I just felt like a knife through the heart. Like, I felt so unbelievably betrayed by this girl.
Goodbye.
I got played from the very beginning. I was so mad that I kind of just hung up on her, and I went up to him and I said, "You're on probation?"
Patrick, why is there a probation officer calling me saying you're a sex offender?
Patrick told me that it wasn't right they were making it seem. He was a teenager too. There was a girl in the neighborhood that had a crush on him. She lied to him about his age, and he thought she was of age. And the girl came on to him and then said that she lied and said his hands were down her pants. So he basically was the victim. The world was against him. He didn't do anything wrong.
You that probation officer over me?
Patrick's probation officer said that she needed for me and him to come out to the probation office. He tried to intimidate me. He got in my face. I better say what I'm told. I better do what I'm told. Or he was like, "Or you'll be sorry."
I mean it. I swear, you better not make things worse.
The light and life was out of his eyes. He just seemed like a different person.
I didn't even do anything. All I did
Shut up!
I had an opportunity again to maybe escape, but he scared me out of taking it. He would whisper in my ear, "Say one thing, I dare you." That's a threat, and I just lied. That night, I had just had enough. I didn't want to sleep being held down that night. I wanted to get away from him, and I was going to make an attempt finally. My son's at a friend's house. I packed up a bag, and he's like, "You ain't going nowhere." And I just looked at him. I'm like, "Okay, we'll see." I don't think he thought I would leave. And then all of a sudden, snatches me up and carries me off. I'm screaming for people to help me. But we were in a horrible neighborhood where you see stuff like that every day.
Please let me go.
And the community's approach is to not get involved.
No.
It was petrifying. In that moment, I just felt like I'm nothing. Like, I am absolutely nothing.
No, please.
He didn't say one word. He didn't look at me. He didn't speak to me. Anything. He just dragged me back to the house. And then when we got there, he put me in the bedroom and wouldn't let me leave. He put a chair in front of the door and told me, "You ain't going anywhere anyway." That night was a game changer because that was the first time that I didn't just feel like I couldn't leave. I knew for a fact I can't leave. I did feel like Patrick was actually to the point where he was going to, something was going to happen really soon. I didn't know when or what or how. I didn't know the extent of it. I just knew it was going to be something life-altering for me. And it wasn't going to be good. So one day, my son was in the bedroom. He's playing with a handheld video game, and Patrick keeps telling him, "Put it down, it's time to eat. Put it down, it's time to eat."
Put the game down, it's time for breakfast. I said it's time to eat.
Just let me finish.
My son has autism, and when Patrick took the game away and said it's breakfast time, my son had a meltdown.
Give me the game.
Don't talk to him like that. I snatched it back from Patrick and gave it to my son and told him, "Don't you ever touch my son or his stuff again." He looked at me, he said, "You stupid bitch."
I talk to him however I want.
Next thing I know, Patrick grabbed me by my throat, picked me up in the air and slammed me on the bed. No. I told him, don't hurt me. Don't do this, Patrick. Don't do this. You can choose not to be this man. He ripped his hand back and he just punched me. He held me down and punched me, close-fisted, in my face, at least 10 to 12 times. The last thing that I remember was out of it, and I got my phone and I called my mom. And next thing I knew, my mom was there to get me and take me to the hospital. The only thing that I could think of is, it's now or never. This is my time to get out. Patrick was on the run at large. Police couldn't find him. They couldn't even find any leads. They had no idea where to even look. And he began to call me while I was in the hospital bed. At first it would be, I just need to see you. I just want you. I just can't live without you. I'm like, you know what? You, I'm done. I'm away from you. Don't you ever call me again. I don't want to see you again. Patrick kept calling me and I kept saying no. And then it switched from that to, well, I'm going to kill you.
Gonna do what?
Then he called me and he'd be like, you know, it'd be a shame if something happened to your mother. Click, hung up on me. He knows where my mom lives. My son is at my mom's house. I just sat there crying. Then he called me again. So, have you decided that you're ready to talk now? And he's like, I just need to see you one time. Please, I'll do anything. I'll turn myself in. If you just agree to come and have one last conversation with me.
Okay, I'll come if it stops all of this.
All I could think about is this a trap? Is he setting me up to where nobody will know where I am, nobody will be able to find me, and he just said he was going to kill me? Is he just trying to lure me in? And I just decided that with weighing my options, I was unsafe either way, and I was tired of the unknown. The police are telling me they can't find him, they have no leads. I just wanted it to be over. I wanted it to end. I wanted the torment to end. I couldn't live like this anymore. He promised me if I communicated with him, he would turn himself in. He gave me the address. I was petrified. Every step I took, it was like when you're pulling petals off a flower. He loves me not. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna live. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna live. My thought was, as soon as the door opened, I was gonna get punched in the face or stabbed and wake up tied up somewhere. But instead, when I opened the door, he hugged me and started crying.
Christina, I'm sorry.
He wanted to make sure that we were still together. I just felt like, let me let him get it out, let me let him get whatever he needs in his crazy head, so he would walk out this door and turn himself in.
Well, I think we can make it work, but you made me a promise.
I definitely pretended we were good again. I told him I promised you I'd come and have a conversation with you, and that you were supposed to turn yourself in. And I'll believe that you're gonna wait for me as if you get pregnant.
I'm not going nowhere until we talk this out.
He would lock the door and tell me that I better not try to run. He trapped me there for 2 straight days. That night, he did not turn himself in. He tried to get me pregnant that whole night. I just felt disgusted with myself. Then the next day, he kissed me and hugged me, and he walked into that police station. When I went home, I scrubbed my private areas until they went raw. I took a Brillo pad and I scrubbed, and I just wanted to get him off me. Felt like a piece of meat. And I stopped being intimate after that for a long time. It made me feel disgusting. And I think I'm having a panic attack because I all of a sudden can't breathe. And it's freaking me out. So I want to tell you instead of trying to pretend to be strong like you asked me to. Because I can't breathe.
Let's get some air.
Yeah, I can't breathe right now. My apologies. I can't breathe. Yeah, please. I need like. found out I wasn't pregnant, I found a really nice house, me and my son. I just felt like the sun was shining on us. What I was being told from the victim witness advocates and everybody else was that he was going to be getting at least 5 to 10 years. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, he took a plea deal. He's just gonna do these couple of years and he's not getting a felony and he's getting good time and he can have probation. I'm like, I thought he'd be gone forever. Until the letters started coming. One time, me and my son went to the zoo. And when we got home from the zoo, my son likes to check the mail. He grabs the mail out and brings it to me. Mom, thanks. And I pick it up, and it doesn't say Patrick's name on it. It was from a different inmate. But I'm like, I don't know this person. I open it up, and the first thing it said was, I know what your house looks like. I'm watching you. Always watching. And I flip it over, and then there's a drawing. He knows exactly where I live. I've come to find out that it was an inmate he was incarcerated with, got released, and he sent him to look for me. It was just like his way of letting me know, even when I'm in jail, you are not safe for me. He crumbled it up and threw it away, and tried to just pretend I'd never seen it. But I started receiving letters. I would get one once a week for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden they were coming every other day, and they did not stop. Hello? And then he started calling me, and he would threaten me on the phone calls.
Patrick, is that you?
Don't hang up this phone call. You know I know where you are. He started talking a lot again about babies and marriage, and said, okay, you have to go and get your wedding dress.
I don't understand. Stop calling me!
He got mad and said, you're gonna go look for a dress right now. And I'm like, oh crap, I need to get this done. He's gonna send whoever to come get me. And that's when my tail would go between my legs and I would just go do what I was told to do. I just felt complete despair and devastation. I knew for certain that if I didn't play along, when he got out, I was dead.
Okay, I'll do it.
Hey, hon, can you get the salt and pepper? That day I was up in the kitchen about to cook my son some breakfast. It was a beautiful day outside. Turned some music on. We were dancing around the kitchen. He's helping me scramble eggs. And I hear a knock at the side door.
A minute! Can you get some plates?
I opened that door and I saw Patrick just standing there. I felt like all the blood was rushing to my head. I felt like I was gonna pass out. He walked in, and it was very eerie and silent. There were no words. And we just stood there staring at each other. And we just stood there for a minute. To me, it felt like hours. And then my whole body started shaking. He put his arm around me, kissed me on the forehead, and then he whispered in my ear, "Are you scared of me?" And I feel like all the blood left my body, like I must have been pale as a ghost. I took a deep breath and I told him, "No, I'm just so excited to see you."
Are your hands shaking?
I'm just surprised.
I didn't want him to know that I was scared. I had to play along. I had to play happy little housewife.
I was just making breakfast.
He wasn't even released an entire month before things went bad. I turned to alcohol. Not proud of it at all. I was drunk every day. I'm in the kitchen and I just started slamming a couple shots. And he comes out there and he sees me.
Getting drunk again?
And he walks up behind me and he starts, "You're a whore." And I just ignored him.
How many guys you been with when I was locked up, huh?
The next thing I know, I'm on the ground. cutting my throat, I'm punching him and trying to rip his hands off of my throat, and I can't. And I just kept telling him, please don't hurt me, baby, I love you. And I didn't love him, but I felt like telling him that would calm him. He finally stopped slamming me. I slipped out, and I ran to the living room, and he grabbed the butcher knives. I heard the drawer open, and I'll never forget this sound. Shh. Ever. It was so loud. It was so quiet. Then he comes in the living room, and I'm just standing there, begging him, please don't do this. Please don't hurt me. You love me.
Patrick, stop. Please, you don't want to do this.
You're the one making me do this.
But I'm not doing anything.
The next thing I know, he comes at me with a knife. He puts one to my throat in front of me, so I'm here. He has me grabbed by the back of the head, and the knife's here. And he's looking at me, and he's telling me, this is all your fault. And then he says, we all died tonight. He turned me over right there, put me on my hands and knees. One hand here, and he had a knife here. He kissed on my neck, and he tells me, you ready? You ready? And I'm just sitting there thinking, what do I do? What do I do? He kissed my ear and he said, I'll never not love you. See you in the afterlife. And he takes the knife. I hear him go. I just shoved my body back as hard as I could into his groin area. It hurt him a little bit. I slid out through his legs and I just took off running. I got a phone call when I answered an in-person meeting.
Thank you for coming in, Christina.
The first thing I heard is, okay, we'll cut to the chase. Patrick accepted a plea deal. He got 2 years. That's it.
You out of your minds?
That's what my life is worth, 2 years. The shock, bam, hit me. I heard nothing else they said to me. Charlie Brown, womp, 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 womp. I'm just looking around at all of them with disdain. I didn't feel protected. I felt like the last time he was incarcerated for the same thing, for abuse of me, he was allowed to stalk me from behind bars.
I'm sorry, miss, but he'll do time, and that's what we needed to make sure of.
I sat straight up, and I leaned forward like this, and I looked them dead in their eyes, and I told them, remember me. Remember my face, remember my name, and remember my son's smile. Because you're releasing a monster. I've done all I can do except for be in the morgue. And you're gonna let him out? He will kill me, and if he can't find me, Lord have mercy on whatever poor soul he tricks into letting them in their life. Because if he can't find and kill me, he's going to kill somebody. He's obsessive.
You find me dead in a couple years. It's gonna be your fault.
They promised me that absolutely when he would be getting released, I would be notified. There would be no surprises, no shock factor. We promised you this, and didn't happen that way. It was somewhere in March 2016. Flowers blooming, grass cut smell, windows open. It's bliss for me. And turn on the TV and I see him, and then it's all gone.
Fowler is accused of killing his girlfriend Jessica Ellenberger and her daughter Madison Marshall. He told police he and Jessie got into a fight. He felt she disrespected him, so he stabbed her 26 times.
He had been out of prison for 3 weeks. And within 3 weeks, just like I told them, he will kill somebody within 30 days. It was 3 weeks.
Mr. Fowler stated that while this was going on, Miss Marshall was screaming for her mother. That's when he stabbed Maddie twice.
And I turn it up, and it says, the first thing I heard, brutally murdered in her home, alongside her daughter. And then they put up a picture of Maddie. I was standing, and I just dropped to my knees.
According to the criminal complaint, Fowler told police he watched as each of them took their last breath, and he thought
She was brutally stabbed over 20 times, and I'm like, he did it, he did it, he did it. It was him, he did it, and I couldn't stop. He did it, he did it, he killed her. Why did he kill her? And I didn't even know he was released. I'm thinking he's still in prison. They didn't call me, I didn't get the automated call. I had no clue that I was in danger. And so then my thought is, oh my God, I could be dead right now if he would have found me, but I moved.
Fowler used Maddie's coloring books to start the house on fire, and after setting it on fire, he walked out the front door, taking Easter candy from the house with him.
He killed her the same way he said he was gonna kill me. He stabbed her to death. He said he was gonna stab me to death, stab my son, and then kill himself. And so it was just like, that should be me. I should be dead, not her. If I could trade places with her, I would. I would trade places with her in a heartbeat so that her daughter could live. I don't understand how somebody can be such a monster. Evil is real, and it's inside of people. He's an animal.
We, the jury, find the defendant Patrick Fowler guilty.
Patrick Fowler gives a blank stare to the judge after the guilty decision comes just minutes after the jury reviews a video of Fowler confessing to the crimes.
I grabbed the knife and a monster came out of me.
What?
Grabbed the knife and a monster came out of me.
Oh my God, he said it. I've never seen that footage. He admitted he's a monster. He said, I let the monster come out. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like he was fighting the monster, and he let the monster win. It was his choice to let the monster win. I can't believe that. Unbelievable. I wish I would have seen that a long time ago, instead of being scared to watch all the footage. It gives me some type of peace of mind because I know he knows what he did. I know he knows that he's a monster. Patrick still haunts me in my dreams. I have nightmares once or twice a month. I'm not going to have nightmares about him anymore. He admitted he's a monster. And I'm really glad that I came here and seen it because I would have never seen it. Patrick Fowler is a coward. Patrick Fowler is a monster by choice. And Patrick Fowler is exactly where he needs to be.